I thank the gentleman from Georgia for his leadership and galvanizing all of us, and I thank my colleagues for very eloquent messages on the floor of the House regarding Janus versus AFSCME, Council 31. Let me acknowledge Lee Sanders and the AFSCME family who have been champions in fighting for the rights of all of labor. And that is why we're on the floor of the House today, because we wanted to, in our way as legislators, join in this magnificent fight for constitutional rights, the First Amendment. And let me take issue with the 1977 Supreme Court case, Abood versus Detroit Board of Education, and turn the Fourth Amendment back to supporting those workers who in fact want to associate and participate in unions. Let me also thank my colleagues who joined in both chairman of the CBC, Chairman Richmond, who I thank him for galvanizing us as well in this effort. We offered a resolution to honor Ethel Cole and Robert Walker. On February 1st, 1968, will be 50 years that these two sanitation workers in Memphis were killed in a horrific accident when the compactor on their sanitation truck malfunctioned. The key is that these individuals had no rights, no benefits, they had no death benefits, they had no protection for their families, they had nothing. And that is why this Supreme Court decision is so crucial, and why I hope that the Supreme Court of the United States will rule in favor of AFSCME against this wrong-headed approach to those who are trying to speak on behalf of those who support the rights of workers. The Supreme Court cases did the flip of the First Amendment and suggested that the First Amendment of those who disapproved unions was being violated. I believe that the Supreme Court got it completely wrong, and that the First Amendment rights of those who move positively to be part of a union could be argued vigorously that their rights are being violated. Not only their rights are being violated, but their rights to have a livable wage and to live in a safe and protected workforce and workplace. That is what I think the real question is to why those who want to be in a union must be defeated by the constitutional premise of the First Amendment. My First Amendment is to join the union and to secure the rights and benefits of those. I hope that the Supreme Court will look to the fact that union members who desire to have fees selected and utilized for the union deducted from their salary have every much as right of the First Amendment. You can opt out, but you should not deny those members the right to the First Amendment to have their voices heard. In particular, it is important to note the benefits that have come about to the African American community. And that is, the African American community has seen increase in wages. African American union workers earn up to $10,000 or 31% more a year than non-union workers. In 2011, nearly 20% of employed African Americans worked for the state, local, or federal government, compared to 14% of other groups. And African Americans are less likely than other groups to work in the private sector. So let me say this about why I stand here to support the unions in their right to the First Amendment to deduct fees to be able to express their rights. Let me just quickly say as I close, do you know, among the many things that unions have helped us get are weekends, all breaks at work, paid vacation, family medical leave, sick leave, Social Security, minimum wage, civil rights, overtime, child labor laws, workman's comp. Mr. Scott, I believe that this is an important discussion because so many good elements of saving lives, so much so that those dear sanitation workers would not have lost their life, came about from the sacrifice of unions. And we should provide them with the First Amendment rights. Let me salute Clara Caldwell, who will be honored by our union brothers and sisters in Austin, Texas. And let me say, the right thing for the Supreme Court to do is rule on behalf of the unions and their rights to the First Amendment. I yield back to the gentleman.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sheila Jackson Lee. And now I'd like to recognize Representative Donald Payne from the great state